This message is called You Don't Need Words to Spread the Joy of Jesus, and it comes from my experience as the mom of an autistic preschooler. I want to share with my community how autistic children remind us of God's promises, and I want to increase our understanding of autism and the importance of inclusion in the church. I want to acknowledge that autism is a spectrum and looks different for every individual. So the examples and experiences I'm sharing today are unique to my son. One thing he really loves is looking at light fixtures and playing with light switches. And when he's doing this, it reminds me of John 8:12, where Jesus said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." And there are several other verses in the Bible that also talk about being the light and letting our light shine. So I think it is divine that my son finds lights to be calming and a way to regulate himself. My son also loves to run, and he can run very fast, which reminds me of Isaiah 40:31, which says that those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will run and not grow weary. And so when I see him running back and forth through our house and outside, it's a nice reminder of this promise. And running is more of a sensory seeking activity for my son. He likes the physical input that running provides. And so it's important to be aware that many autistic children are fast and may not sense danger when they are running. So having consistent supervision and secure environments is imperative. Although my son is currently not speaking, he does make a lot of happy noises and stems vocally. And this reminds me of Psalms 100, which says, "Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs," which is something that he is always doing. And stemming happens in many other ways as well, not just the vocalizations that you may hear, but you may also see children flapping their hands, spinning in circles, or jumping up and down. And this is an activity that should never be stopped if they're not hurting themselves. Just like we may take deep breaths to regulate ourselves or go outside to get some fresh air after a long work day, stimming is a form of self-care for autistic individuals. If you've spent time around my son, you'll notice how he uses his hands to cover his ears or puts on headphones to cancel out the noise in loud environments. We see this in the Bible in 1 Kings 19:12, where God was speaking to Elijah and he told him to go out onto the mountain. And wind came through, an earthquake came, and fire came, but the Lord was not in any of those elements. The Lord came to Elijah in a gentle whisper. And so sometimes it is necessary to drown out the noise of the world to hear from God. And I feel that my son really models how that should look when he's overstimulated by noises that I might not even register. But he will put on his headphones, which block out some of the sound and creates an auditory environment that is less stimulating, similar to how we must put ourselves in position to hear from God. Finally, my son thrives on routine, structure, and repetition. I think about Daniel in his prayer life. He prayed 3 times a day down on his knees, even when there was a decree saying he should not be praying to God. And this is what ultimately sent him into the lion's den. But while he was there, he continued his routine of praying. And while he was there, God kept his angels of protection around him, and he was safe. Similarly, many autistic children appreciate routine, and that structure keeps them safe and regulated, just like Daniel's consistent prayer time and devotion kept him safe in the lion's den. So I want to conclude with John 3:16, which says, "For God so loved the world." And when we're thinking about the world, remember that this includes those with disabilities and those whose worship and church-going experiences may need to look different than your own. And so it's very important that we as a church take time to understand, accept, and include the experiences of autistic people and their caregivers. This may look like providing sensory kits for autistic children to have with them during the church service, or even creating a separate sensory room where them and their caregivers or another volunteer can move to more of a regulated space, but still partake in the word and worship. If you would like to support these efforts, please scan this QR code or type in this URL. This will take you to a fundraiser where the funds will go towards helping local churches grow their special needs ministries. Thank you so much.